All right, what's up, guys? This is Marc Augustine here, and in this video, we have a guest, George. We're going to talk a little bit about reselling and so on. But before we get into the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel. This video is brought to you by the Dropship Masterclass. What the Dropship Masterclass is a full eCom dropshipping course teaching you everything you know to dropship on eBay. With the course, you get a free month of the eCom Sniper software. So I encourage you to check out the link in the description. Use the coupon code FIRST100, and we'll see you in the groups. So yeah, so Sammy, let's get into the video.
Yeah. You want to just introduce yourself really quickly?
Yeah, so I'm George. I run a business on eBay, selling, reselling customer returns and liquidated stock and so on. I also manufacture our own products in Eastern Europe, primarily some components in China, and then we sort of bring them over here to England and assemble them, and then we sell them on Amazon and eBay. Been selling on Amazon for about 10 years, been selling on eBay for about the same amount of time. For anybody who's selling on eBay and considering selling on Amazon, think carefully because it's a nightmare. eBay is much nicer to you.
I'm telling you, it's a strong point. Yeah.
Yeah, we sell stuff.
I hear you. So for everybody watching, Marc, do you want to introduce yourself as well? And then we
my name is Marc Augustine. I've been dropshipping on multiple platforms for over 10 years. Recently focused back on eBay dropshipping as Sammy encouraged me to come back using eCom Sniper. Saves a lot of time, so it's just it's beneficial time-wise. So that's who I am. This is my channel. If you check out the channel, you'll see previous videos where we've dropshipped. We've showed you how we listed this account. And happy to be here. So Sammy, you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Yeah. And hi, my name is Sammy. I've been dropshipping on eBay for 7 years now, and I'm actually one of Marc's students. So just to put that out there. So I've been dropshipping 7 years now, and just happy to be here. So
Sammy, you want to take over the video? I need to just step out for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just give the account update, and then we can go from there. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay. So for everybody viewing, like this is just a quick follow-up what's happening with the account. For the last 7 days, we did about 1,400 in sales, 31 days, 6,100 items, $6,100, and we started listing items so we can see we're starting to get a positive uptrend in our sales. So if we look at the total profit of the account up till now, it would be just above $3,056, and this was about a little bit above 65 days at this point. And then we can kind of look at some of the orders that we got on this account, and you know what, there's a bunch of orders that haven't been fulfilled today. Like, oh, I think there's quite a bit, so maybe our profit margin is going to jump up to around 3,100 by the end of today. So I guess we can kind of like before we continue, let's see if I can go ahead and what I would like to do is just to kind of jump into the conversation with George, right? So George, I know last time like we tried to keep it like authentic, yeah. Like I wanted to make sure that like if we had this conversation on the phone, what's gonna end up happening is like I would have to be surprised twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things like that, yeah.
You were very surprised the first time, so let's not deprive people of that.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. So George, how long have you been how long have you been selling on eBay for at this time, yeah?
So I've been selling on eBay for about 10 years. Started it about 10 years ago accidentally. I ran a lighting hire company, so hiring lights to people in TV and film and stuff like that. And then I bought some lights on eBay and found there was nobody else really selling them, and I could get them. I then ended up finding them cheaper from a wholesaler, obviously. I was about 12, and got them cheaper, and then just started selling them on eBay, and then sort of went from there, really. And eBay's kind of always been there in the background of my life, as I guess the same with most people, with buying and selling and like families and stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just been around.
So like are you doing like, is this your full-time business? Like, is this what you do full-time, or is it like a passive
Yeah, this is
gig
what
for
I
you?
call a job. Yeah, no, this is what I
Full-time,
call
huh?
a job. Yeah, so So I sell stuff that we manufacture abroad, and it used to be me making stuff and designing stuff, but now it's other people. And the reselling kind of, it was the products that we sell are kind of top end luxury stuff, and they do really well at Christmas time and so on around the holidays. So we needed something that was more not so seasonal. And reselling, when you sell, screws and kitchen worktops and stuff, it's not as seasonal, so it's handier.
Gotcha. So then like like my big question for you is like, what are you doing at eCom Sniper? Yeah, because we're kind of like catered to drop shipping and not really like reselling. So what kind of brought you to us? Yeah.
So a massive thing with me, almost at a point of obsession, is automation. And because without things like automation, you can't scale, and without scale, it's basically just a hobby, right?
Absolutely.
So I was looking for ways to scale what I do. And most of the stuff that I buy is from places like Amazon. There's a company called Argos in the UK, which is similar to Amazon, but on a much smaller scale and with a little book.
Gotcha.
Very old school. And so I buy their liquidated stock and like customer returns and all that kind of stuff.
I understand.
So I've got an item which is on Amazon, and I need to get a listing for it on eBay, and I'm not going to go all the stuff.
No,
so
of course not. Yeah. So then let me ask you this: these liquidated stocks that you have, right? How many products are you getting? Like, are you buying like a pallet? Well, like, what is the process on that?
So I just want to put a little caveat on there, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
There are a ton of videos all over YouTube and stuff that I found after the event, but explaining how wonderful buying liquidated pallets is and how you can make millions and it's super easy and all this kind of stuff. And don't waste your money. Like, it is not super easy. You will not make £1 million. And there are customers out there that will make you want to throw plates at walls. It's worth doing, but it's not simple, and it's not a quick, easy solution to £500 in your pocket. But having said that, it is good fun, and every single day is different, which I guess you as well. So so I buy everything from single items through to pallets. It started off with like single items, customer returns, because Amazon customers have a tendency to return things, and it kind of started because as an FBA seller, as an FBA seller in other territories apart from the UK, I was kind of at the mercy of Amazon's returns guys who tend to just go, oh, customer returns something, just give them the money back, refund at first scan, all of that stuff that is terrible. And now I'm on the other end of that. So now I'm able to make money out of the returns that Amazon used to get out of my pocket as a third-party seller. So that feels really nice.
So you started selling the returns from your products on eBay?
No, we started selling returns from other people's stuff, but it was just the kind of we'd had so many things where a customer had just gone, oh, this is I don't want it now, and just sends it back for for whatever reason. And then Amazon, like, they send back a brick in a box, and Amazon, not that I'm cynical at all, but then Amazon goes, oh, yes, they sent the product back. That's nice. They give them the refund. And then 3 weeks later, you end up looking at a brick in the box and going, where did my money go? And Amazon's laughing all the way to the bank, right? And so now I'm the person buying the bricks in the boxes. And 90% of the time, they're not bricks in boxes. They're perfectly usable products, which we can then sell to a customer.
And where are you buying these products?
Sorry?
Where are you buying these products?
So there are, I don't think I'm giving away any trade secrets to say there are auction sites all over the internet. If you search for liquidated stock, and if you search for Amazon customer returns and stuff, there are places. Some are more reputable than others, but if you do your research, there's tons of places to find this stuff from.
I actually bought a pallet with a friend at one time. Like, there was this website called Direct Liquidations, Like this huge pallet just came. It was like $1,700, yeah. And then we got the MSRP. They're saying that there was about $10,000 in stock. And what my friend ended up doing was he just went to work, and inside this trunk of his car, he would just open it up and have like a moving garage sale. But it took
Amazing.
him a long time to sell it all. Well, not sell it all, but to make his money back. But it did move. So
Yeah.
I guess the big question here would be that, like what kind of margins are you looking at when you're buying these pallets or whatever and then listing them on eBay?
It really depends. It's massively a volume game, which I guess you guys will know all about.
Absolutely.
I just want to clarify, I don't know anything about drop shipping at all. So like don't use any terms because I haven't got a clue. But yeah, anything from like 50% through to, for example, the other day I bought I don't want to brag, but I'm just so like it doesn't happen very often, but once in a while you'll get something and you'll be like, that went well. I bought a Wii, a Nintendo Wii remote silicon case.
Gotcha.
There was a ton of them in a box and nobody was interested. So I put in a bid and ended up getting these things for like 2p each, which is about 1.5 cents. And they sell on eBay for £8.95.
Oh, no way.
That doesn't happen all the time.
Gotcha.
I bought 36 bathroom shelves, go in the corners of bathrooms. They were all brand new. They were not brand new. And 18 of them were still in the garden, need to go to the dump. And 18 of them sold for about, I don't know, 20% profit.
I hear you. I hear you.
It also depends what eBay's algorithm picks up as well, right?
Gotcha. So then like
But let me,
when you buy like
I have a question. What percentage of you said that you had to throw away half of that inventory. What percentage of the products sell through? Because that's a cost that you'll take on, no?
that was literally my next question.
Yeah. I roughly it will change depending on where you're sourcing your inventory, right?
Mhm.
But like I think from what I've seen overall, you probably end up with about 50% of products that you can sell as brand new. And those will usually come with, I don't tend to buy at more than about 20% of retail price. So you can figure out the rest from there.
Gotcha.
And then I generally put about a 15% discount on it when it goes on eBay off retail price, to leave room for offers and things. And probably about 50% of it you can sell as brand new. About another 25 to 30% you can sell as slightly used. There's another for 10 to 15% that could be fixed up, but I don't
Gotcha.
generally. I used to love doing it, but not anymore. And there's
Gotcha.
another 5 to 10% that you'll be throwing out really.
Like when you're doing this like product sourcing from when you're buying these liquidation pallets or whatever, do you ever check to make sure they're going to be selling on eBay before you actually purchase it?
Yes and no. If it's a massive investment, if it's something that's going to cost more than a sort of a number that I have in my head, then yeah, I'll do some research first. But if it's something that I'll end up with 20 items where they cost 10p each, I generally won't bother, on the
Gotcha.
basis that also the more sales you've got, it dilutes your percentage for any defects and things like that. So even if I sell something at a loss slightly, it brings people to the shop, and also
Of course.
it dilutes that percentage. So
The reason I ask is because with your business model, right, it should be like very easy to be able to like verify if like a pallet is gonna be a fast moving pallet, because eBay drop, like we do specifically from Amazon to eBay drop shipping. And I think you said you use AutoDS, right?
I used to, yeah, until very recently.
Gotcha. So so with that being understood, like we can understand that there's thousands of people that are deploying, like that are listing items from Amazon straight onto eBay, and they're drop shipping that product. So with that being said, is if you just take the titles of the Amazon items and search it on Terapeak, right? You're able to go ahead and tell right away if that item sold on eBay. And if it did, you can just verify right away if this pallet is gonna sell or not, because it already has a prior sales history. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. And there's Zeek Analytics as well, which is not as good in the UK, but very good in the US. So yeah, it is possible. But then at the same time, like once you sort of scale to it, like I guess I probably buy about 3 pallets worth of stuff a week. Sometimes it's
Right.
small parcels, sometimes it's pallets, but like it usually ends up on a pallet. And like sometimes you're buying individual items because there just aren't any pallets around that have stuff on that will go. And also there's an element of like, oh, I sold 14 of those last week. I can go with that.
Gotcha.
And also like, yeah, so it is possible. You can do it, but sometimes the auctions are so fast moving that you kind of have to
Gotcha.
just, yeah.
Just
But if you
jump the gun, huh?
yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. Like, but it's as you, I think it's as you said in the beginning, like a lot of this does come down to like an automation standpoint, right? Like if you're able to kind of like do these things automatically, like you'd have a lot more confidence like moving forward by like, because a lot of the money for the resellers, they come in, it's not really when you sell the item, it's when you're purchasing it. You know, that's where the bulk of the money is being made. So if you can kind of like hone and refine that process indefinitely, you know what I mean? I can see this going to the moon because the reality with eBay or Amazon or any of these marketplaces, every single thing works. Like bring me any business model, everything works. It's just, you know, about, as you said, right? Like to take things from a hobby into a full-time profession is scale, right? And how do you scale? I met a guy yesterday. He hired like 80 employees to do eBay dropshipping, all manually. Ridiculous numbers, yeah. But and for him, he told me that, you know, like he abandoned that project because all of the money he made was going into the like his employees, etc. But it is again like comes down to like the aspect of scale if you want to go ahead and take these businesses seriously, you know. So
Yeah.
like, and how many products do you have listed on your eBay account? Yeah.
About 250, I suppose. So not a massive
Gotcha.
amount.
Gotcha.
Stuff moves quite quickly though, especially if you price it right.
Right.
And you can sort of end up in a scenario where you're doing the customers a favor because they're getting a brand new product at like half the retail price. Generally
Absolutely.
speaking, it's probably only worth half the retail price anyway, right? Like
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
of
Absolutely.
the stuff that you get from Amazon is just complete rubbish. Yeah, so you're doing the customers a favor. They're happy, particularly at the moment when nobody's got any money, at least here in the UK. You're pulling stuff out of landfill, so that works well. And you're essentially taking money out of Amazon's pocket, which as an ex-Amazon seller feels pretty good. Probably want to edit that bit out.
No. So let me ask you this, yeah. Um, like out of you have 250 items listed. How many items do you have to list right now?
How many stuff that I've bought and not listed?
Right.
2 maybe, because I did a bunch of stuff when I found your software to play with it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And like what is like what do you need the software for though? I'm still confused on that.
So basically, I can use an eCom sniper.
I get that you said you're listing from Amazon to eBay,
Yeah,
but like we're kind of like an AI platform. Do you
yeah,
get what I mean? Like that is like kind of like our um main selling point here, right?
yeah.
But
And
it
it's an AI
seems to
platform made for drop shipping. So how are you applying it?
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest. There are a ton of features that I don't use in eCom Sniper, which I think would be great because they sound super interesting. But I'm quite techie though, so I will like automate and like play with stuff till the end of the world, even if it is not necessarily useful. But there's a ton of features that I don't use, but the features that I do use work really well comparatively to Auto DS. Can I say that?
yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah. So in Auto DS, there is little things like, for example, in Auto DS. So I bought like 500 items from a retailer, and they're all listed on Amazon, and I want to get the listing on eBay, and I want to do that the quickest, most efficient, most accurate way possible for eBay's algorithm, and also for me not being harassed by customers who are annoyed by stuff. And at the moment, and like when it comes to searching for tools, I have a block in my schedule every day of 4 hours for searching for tools. And at the moment, eCom Sniper is the only one that really fits that bill. For example, AutoDS, there are things like, sure, it will pull the listing from Amazon, but then it will just sit there in your eCom in your AutoDS list, and it will be identical to the listing on Amazon, which is fine unless they've made typos and misspellings, which they probably have. Also, it'll just take the first 20 words of the Amazon listings title, and that'll be your title, and that may not be the best title for eBay. So I have to go through and I have to make all the titles, and I have to redo all the descriptions. I have to check the typos. If you're building a brand new description, which you are, it's very unlikely to be any typos, and it's going to be really readable for the customers, and it's not going to be in Chinese English. And there's 15 other things, but like it just makes things simple, accurate, easy, and quick.
Gotcha. So basically, like, you're applying it just to get like the SEO boost and also the copywriting boost from it. Right. Yeah. I gotcha.
Pictures, because sorry to interrupt. Like
no, go
on. From what I understand from little tests and trials that I've done, eBay likes original pictures and original content more than it likes stuff grabbed from the internet. And that's what you get with eCom Sniper that you don't get with AutoDS, and that you could only literally, I can show you my, I'm not going to, but I could show you my email inbox, and up until about 20 minutes before I found eCom Sniper and started playing with that, I was about to spend 300 quid a month on a VA, and now I'm not.
Gotcha.
Because it's literally that.
Have you tried the image collaging tool?
Yeah, and it could be luck, but like I played with this thing at like 10 p.m. my time, and I woke up in the morning, and a set of placemats, which I think are not very nice, but other people disagree. But they'd had like 6 views over the course of the last 30 days, maybe, if you're lucky. And I woke up in the morning, and not only had they sold, but both sets of them had sold. And I figured I was stuck with those until Christmas at least.
Hell yeah. So
eCom listing.
But one disclaimer that for everybody watching, like, you do have a huge competitive edge over dropshippers though. And the reason why is because of your pricing. If you're doing 15% below the Amazon retail price, right? That is
15 or 50?
15, I believe.
15, I'm not crazy.
Okay.
Right. No, I hear you. And like one of the things for eBay SEO is the pricing. That is the one disadvantage we have as dropshippers, because we are marking up the price from Amazon. It's never, we go as far as raising the price by 80%. Do you get what I mean? $100 item, we're selling it for 180. It's ridiculous, right? And because of that, our copywriting and SEO has to be like top notch to even be able to sell those products. But if let's say we made our software to go ahead and list everything as the same price as Amazon, we will get flooded with sales, but it wouldn't be profitable to us because we don't have like the inventory to go ahead and ship those items out. But because go ahead.
No, I was going to just coming back on what you said there about the pricing and stuff. Like, to an extent, people are paying for convenience. Like, you can have somebody who's got time on their hands and can spend 3 hours searching for the most, the best priced item, or you can have somebody who's like, I just need a thing now. And if you're good enough for SEO to get your thing at the top of the rankings, and it's there and it's what they need and it's at the right price, whatever that may be for them, because the item is irrelevant. It's the buyer that's important, right?
Right.
And if, in my opinion, and if the item's there, it's in the right place at the right time for the right buyer, and they buy it and they're happy with that price, and like, does any of the rest of it matter?
Of course. No, you're absolutely right. Like, no buyer is like surfing endless pages to find the right product. right? They have a need, right? And then they go ahead and come to the platform. Well, there's two types of buyers, right? The first kind is like who are buying for utility reasons, and those are the ones who are kind of like just coming in looking for the solution, and then they're getting out. But and then the second type of buyer are people who are looking for passion products, right? Let's say it's a guitar or something like that, yeah. Those are the ones that are going to spend a lot more time like evaluating, looking for the titles and the pictures that really inspire them to go ahead and like purchase that item, yeah. So so there has to be that distinction. But regarding like to get on the first page, right? eBay, do you know what eBay Open is? Like
Conference, right?
the conference, yes.
Yeah.
For the last 2 years, they've been hosting these conferences, and like these videos and these on YouTube, they post them, and they have like 500 views. Like this is like I'm telling you, and they go ahead and they explicitly mention, and we covered this on the channel, right, multiple times.
Mm.
And they explicitly mentioned, right? They said that in 2023, eBay is making a massive stride, and they're putting a heavy importance on the price. So what that means is eBay is gonna become like is gonna reward sellers that have the best price possible, because they understand that that is something that is very significant for the buyers. So what I would say would be like the business model you're going into, right? You're gonna have that competitive edge, um, like moving forward. But to me, the downside of your model would be the upfront cost, because when we talk about scale, we list like 10,000 items, right? That's the kind of numbers we like to go ahead and like make a living from, yeah. But what do you think? Like, how would you define scale for you?
Um, I think probably maybe between 500 and 1,000 items pretty constantly, but things move so fast
Gotcha.
that it's really difficult to. I've specifically been trying to list more stuff, and it's not a question of buying the stuff, because there's if you want, and I did recently, I just bought a whole bunch of stuff at like 20 pence an item just to get the number of listings up. And the boost that you see when you just by listing more stuff, even if it's junk, like it's crazy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I hear what you mean, yeah. Like Mark, we spoke about this a lot of times, the 24-hour boost that a new listing gets, yeah.
Right, exactly. The brand new listings get that boost. So if you listen all the time, you'll generate sales really quickly.
Exactly. And the rule on eBay that's been like tested over time, right? Sales bring sales. You bring a velocity to your account, and that velocity goes ahead and gives traction to the rest of your listings.
But
So
George, so do you plan to use the software in your reselling business, or do you plan to try dropshipping at all?
So the software is, there are a couple of things that would make life absolutely perfect that the software doesn't do. But like, for example, I may have like 3 of an item instead of just one. So it would be nice if there's a box to choose a quantity. But that's only accessible in my scenario, not everybody else's. And also, I'd like to be able to go below the retail price, obviously. But yeah, no, we'll definitely use it in the reselling, because it's the best and easiest way of achieving stuff, and also with the flexibility that you've got to make your own templates for the collages so they can be unique. It's more difficult than that in AutoDS. It's not as accurate. So definitely in the reselling business. But the thing is, you could, if I might be so bold as to make a suggestion, like from a reseller's perspective, like I know a ton of resellers, right? And there's loads of people on the eBay forums that resell. And AutoDS is one of the top tools that are used, but there are things in AutoDS that just make you like cry. And they just don't exist in this tool. So I would pay more per listing than you're currently charging me. But I'm going to need fewer listings. But if you do a couple of little tweaks that are not really there at the moment, that I don't think will be that hard. Speaking as someone who's not a developer, that software could be like
Gotcha.
the razor edge of perfection.
Let me write that down. Yeah. Can you say that one more time? You wanted to go ahead and control the inventory that you list,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I just want to be able to say that I've got 6 instead of 1.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And you said the price, right? But you can set the price straight from the Amazon page, yeah? Is that
No.
what you mean? Or like for example, let's go ahead and I'm gonna share the screen, and then you can kind of see.
Yeah.
We can kind of see that. So if we go on the Amazon page, are you guys able to see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. If we go to the Amazon page and let's say we open up, one of these water bottles or whatever, right? It's gonna show the price of the right over here. It says sell it for, and you can modify that to whatever you want before you list the item.
Yeah, I can. But the 100%. But that price that it comes up for, as far as I know, is set by settings inside that you set inside the thing. And you can't set that to say make that price that comes up there 15% less than the retail price.
Gotcha.
The only thing you can do is
well, you could. I just did it right now. I did a negative number instead. So instead of 80, I put negative 80.
Wait, one second. Yeah, because I can't do that. The lowest I can go, Mark, the lowest I can go is 0. It just the little down arrow won't go down anymore. I sound like
what if you
You have to type it in.
Yeah, what if you type it in manually? Yeah, like if you just type it in negative 15 and then we refresh the page, it should go ahead and mark it down by
yeah, I did that. I've been clicking the down arrow. I'm used to AutoDS. Sorry.
Gotcha. No, I hear you. Well, to be fair, this is something we never expected someone to ask for.
That's what they said. Yeah. The difference is there are like 3 or 4 things that are just need to be there for it to be perfect. None of them, like I said, are very difficult, I think. But but AutoDS just don't listen. And they just don't react to any, even though you're saying you could do that, it will be simple, and I could give you 50 people who would use this software in a heartbeat, and they're like, yeah, but we've got our audience, and we're doing okay, so we're good, thanks very much, have a nice day. And that's not very helpful.
No, I hear you. I think the difference here is we are actually drop shippers. We actually use the platform, and the bulk majority of the money we make comes from the platform. So because of that, the software is being developed on a daily basis, not just for myself, but for everybody else, because what it really comes down to is just a tool that I use personally and Marc uses, and then we just go ahead and share that tool. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, it feels like it's your toy, and
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but we're good with the price, yeah. The percentage, you just put a negative number and you're good to go, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. If you could edit that bit out so I don't look like a moron, that'd be great.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This is nobody expects somebody to figure out all the ins and outs. We are a new platform to begin with, right? And we do have problems here and there. I think every company does. And so we appreciate these kind of input. And so you said you want to be able to control your inventory, and that could be done very, very quickly as well. The price, what were the other 2 things that you wanted?
Yeah, so I figured if you could put a box next to the sell it for price where you could use the
right, the quantity, yeah.
I can't hear you, George.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
George.
You want to pause the video until we get him back? Yeah. So just to finish up the list, yeah. Like, sorry for that, Mark. Yeah. So just what were the other two things that you mentioned that would make your life easier?
So there's inventory, there was price, and there was
Why don't you send me a message when, like, for all the feature requests that you like, yeah?
Yeah, there's like you put me on the spot and I'm like, my brain's gone dead. It's like
No, of course. Like, you know how many times if Mark asked me to pick a product from Amazon, I would be like, I don't know what to pick. So many times, it's like, I rely so heavily on automation that, you know, at this point, you know, like I can't think for myself, man. I'm
So
telling
George,
you.
let me ask you something. How did you learn to resell on eBay? Is it that you took a course online? Is it you just saw other people doing it?
So I've been selling on Amazon and eBay, generally speaking, for like yourself, like 10 years or so. So selling as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, it just yeah, it was sort of an accident. I just kind of started doing it, and then it just sort of spiraled. And then I saw how fast it could multiply itself and how fast it could scale. And then in a previous business years ago, I hadn't put any systems or processes in place, and someone basically told me that if you are a small company, think in terms of processes like you're a massive company, because it's going to feel ridiculous to put processes in place for a massive company when you're a small company. But when you are a massive company, you'll thank yourself for it, because there are no time to put those processes in place, and you're just the poorer because you don't have them there. So yeah, I started putting processes in and trying to figure out things to scale and things, and then yeah, it just obviously I already knew about Zeek Analytics. So as Sammy was saying, you can see when things come up, like, are they going to sell or are they not going to sell, or if they're only a couple of pence, you can take a punt on it. It doesn't matter anyway. So it's just, I don't know. Like, I was going to say, how do you pick the products to drop ship? But like, you have the software, right? But also, like, you must have some kind of sense of like, that's going to work well.
Not at all. Like, the
Really?
most obscure things sell for us. Things that we thought would never sell.
Because if
Like,
you think about it, the strategy that we're using a little bit of data using items that other people sold, but we're still listing. And like, for instance, I listed 1,000 items in like a day and a half. And it took me like 15, 20 minutes. And
how many of those products did you actually look at?
yeah, and you don't, only when you're fulfilling the items, you look at them and then you'll get a feel for what's selling. And then, like, I've been doing it for a long time, so there are certain items I know sell. But this strategy, when you're raising the price by 80%, it's difficult to know it would sell.
Yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Well, I think even beyond that, like, I have like multiple eBay accounts and like thousands of items across all of them, right? And I don't list like 1,000 items in the same niche. So I don't have like 1,000 blue markers. I have like thousands of different niches. And if you told me to name 1,000 niches, I would stop at 10. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be able to go ahead and come up with those like ideas.
Because the
You know what I
reseller
mean?
processes are much more hands-on. You purchasing pallets, you purchasing return items, you actually dealing with them, you actually physically shipping them out yourself. So after a while, you get that experience. With drop shipping, there are a couple of things that could happen. If you drop shipping a long time, you see repetitive items on different accounts. It's like I used to sell a lot of bicycles, a lot of tables, chairs, that type of stuff. But it's a little different. If
Yeah.
banking, like having a hunch that something would sell happens a lot less often in drop shipping.
Right, right, and like some of my best sellers were like fridge water filters or something like that, and like I've never had that type of fridge in my life, or like you know the robo vacuums, like they had like some,
I just
like
got on.
yeah, like some gadgets or accessories for that, and those would sell like rapidly, and I just had no clue. Like if it came to me, I would look for a vacuum. Who knew the gadgets or the accessories were like one of the top sellers for that, the replenishables. You, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So George, like so what do you need to take your business to like $1 million this year? Just throwing it out there.
$500,000.
This guy's a genius. Good question.
A
So
really gullible bank.
the banter.
No, just a few little tweaks on bits and pieces like eCom Sniper, and like other than that, like it just, once you've kind of figured out the basics, like I don't know if this is similar to drop shipping, but once you've kind of figured out the basics, you can just kind of build it from there. And like from people that I've spoken to, like everybody does it slightly differently. Everybody has different systems
Sure.
and thought processes and things, but the principle is basically the same, and it's just buy, sell, replicate.
Of course, of course. So,
Yeah.
but what would be the numbers that you're looking at? Like, you know, like to make $1 million, right? We already have a blueprint on for our strategy, right? And that is 30 eBay accounts, 10,000 items drop shipped from Amazon onto those accounts, and you're on your way to making $1 million this year. That is like the blueprint that we have like refined and came up with throughout the years, yeah? Well, more so now than ever. So what would you say for your specific model? Like how would you, like if you had all the resources you had, like let's say hypothetically, how would you get there?
Um, mm, Probably just expand the number of places that we're buying from.
Yes.
Because you get a different range of products, and list more stuff. Like with the margins that we have, like with about £300, I could. Sorry, I'm pounds not dollars, but with
No
about
problem.
£300, I can make about £3,000, and then obviously once you've got the fees and stuff taken off that, I end up with about £2,000. So I can make about £1,500 out of that profit. I don't know what percentage that is. Lots. And yeah, that's it really. The processes are there for the, like if you're able to spend some time going around the internet, the processes are there for scalability, like the links into couriers services, and there's the things like ShipStation, which works in the UK and the US as well.
Right.
So you can link your eBay account out to couriers. You can get a VA. They will do all the listing for you. The biggest stumbling block to scale in my business model is the fact that you have to be there when the goods arrive. You have to check them, test them, put them on the shelf. But like that's not the worst thing in the world, and it's not very difficult. It doesn't take very long.
Right.
And you can hire 1 or 2 people for that.
Gotcha. There are actually fulfillment centers that do exactly that. Like I know a guy who's buying from eBay and then selling on Amazon at scale, and he just ships it to the fulfillment center and they just do all of that, and then he just focuses on going ahead and buying more products. You know what I mean? So it's almost like drop shipping in a sense where he's not really like holding on to the physical product in his hands, but he ships it directly to the fulfillment center. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. And they'll check it and test it and
They'll
all that.
check, they'll test it, and then they'll even return it to eBay if there's a problem. So there are like services like that out there. The one he told me about, like I'm waiting to get like a membership with them, just to test them out and stuff. But um, this one is in the US. But I believe for sure there are like some in the UK. If not, make it
I know in
yourself.
the
Yeah.
US, when you're searching for them, you search for 3PL fulfillment centers. I don't know if there are a lot of them in the UK.
There
Right.
are a few. Yeah, there are a few. I had to use a bunch of 3PLs when the pandemic happened and Amazon stopped being. They were a bit unreliable before the pandemic happened. They became quite unreliable, and now they're somewhere in between the two. But when they sort of threw a bunch of our stuff out of the FBA centers during the pandemic, I had to figure out 3PLs really quickly on the fly. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm.
So so this is gonna be like my last kind of like question for you. I know the resellers are very meticulous about their listings more so than dropshippers in general, right? Because of the limited amount of stock, right? You have to be more conservative about how you make your titles or the SEO on your listings, yeah? Um, like what do you do for your titles, yeah? Like what would you say um gives you a boost in your SEO? Because I know the resellers they really focus in on this topic heavily.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
So obviously research is important, and I am not one of the people that does like I've done both, and I've got listings at the moment that are keyword stuffed up to the max, and I've got some that aren't. And generally speaking, like it sounds counterintuitive, but the more readable listings with fewer keywords in actually work better.
Yes.
For me at least. But yeah.
No, that is actually exactly verbatim what eBay said. They on their open, they said that we're looking for readable titles now, and if you want to put keywords, you put in your item specifics. That's what they said. So they have like their Cassini algorithm, right? They went ahead and leveled it up to a point where they're looking for natural reading titles. And if your titles are not flowing, right? If there is like confusion, if it hurts the buyers, right? Because let's look at it from a buyer's perspective. If somebody is reading like, let's say you're selling like running shoes or something like that, and you put running shoes, beach, sandal, blah blah, right? It's the human brain is not able to process information all at once like that. Like even phone numbers, right? We have like a pattern, right? If you tell someone like my phone number is 647-323-543, they're gonna be like, what? Say that again. But when you chunk it down, it becomes easy to consume, and that clarity plays a huge part in a buyer's purchase. And eBay has recognized that, and because of that, they put an emphasis on readable titles. So they penalize you actually if you're keyword stuffing, but you can keyword stuff the item specifics. I think that is like one of the keys here. So definitely like we're on the same page for that. But also some of the things that I would share would be that eBay has said it very explicitly. The first four words of your title is like the main crutch of it.
Yes, and if you're on Amazon at least, and I'm pretty sure on eBay, the first four. Sorry to jump in, but I completely agree. The first four words of the title. Basically, after that, like they index it, but like don't count on anybody. Like it's not really relevant. The first
Right.
four words of the title are basically all that seems to matter, and also repeating those and using those throughout the listing in other places and stuff. Just sort of like just hammering home. My item really is a greeny blue cup. Honestly.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. They index it for the most repeated words, so that way they know they have confidence in like for example if somebody you said greeny blue cup, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody's searching for greeny blue, then eBay for sure knows, right? If you have repeated that multiple times, they're not going to show a green one, they're not going to show a blue one, because they're going to show your product because you have repeated it and they have confidence. So that is like I think it's a more deeper concept. It's about repeating and like showing that confidence by iterating over your primary keywords throughout the listing. And you know what? We already do that on eCom Sniper, but we actually go take it a step further and we repeat like all the keywords.
Mm-mm. But yeah, fair enough. Yeah, no, it's all good.
Yeah, well, that's it for me, man. I think if you guys want to like add anything else.
Yeah, this is just for the viewers. Would you suggest someone? What do you think someone needs to start reselling on eBay?
A sense of humor. Because you just and an open mind. And you said this with the drop shipping, and it is kind of the same with reselling. Like, you need to be not humble, but like you need to be humble enough to go, I've no idea what's going to sell. I've no idea what people are going to want. And you have to let the data lead you. And also, there was a philosopher, I think it was Kierkegaard, and he said there are two ways to be fooled. One of them is to not believe that. One of them is to not believe the truth, and the other one is something else. I can't remember. And yeah, basically, it was it's that. You can think you know what's going to sell. You can think it's going to work out, but like use the data, use all the tools that are there to make it possible for you to be successful. Because otherwise, if you're not going to allow people to help you out, then you've got no chance. Yeah, use the data and be humble, and just every time you make a mistake, figure out what you learned from it, and then go off and do it again and again and again and again until you get it right, because you will get it right. Like from a perspective of like numbers and stuff like that, eventually,
Absolutely.
if you do it enough, you will get it right and you will make money, and then you will be glad that you carried on doing it and you made money. You only get money when you give up.
I hear you. I hear you. Very profound. Well, all right, guys. Anything else,
Thanks for your
Marc?
time, George. No, thanks for your time, George, and I really appreciate you taking the time to share your experience with eBay reselling. And guys, if you're watching this video on YouTube and you have any questions for us, let us know in the comment section, like the video and subscribe.
All right. Take care, guys.